High energy prices, surging illegal migration, and an economy that depends heavily on China, Russia, and the United States. This is the reality for Germany, a country that was once a proud economic titan and the manufacturing powerhouse of the world. But bad as this sounds, it's just the tip of the iceberg, because a much bigger problem is brewing underneath. The German economy is swimming dangerously in troubled waters, and it doesn't look like it's getting out anytime soon. So how exactly did Germany find itself in this mess? And is there a way out of it? Welcome to Living History. To fully grasp Germany's current economic challenges, we need to rewind to the aftermath of World War II in 1945. The Allied forces, having defeated Nazi Germany, divided the country into 4 zones controlled by Great Britain, France, the US, and the Soviet Union. In 1949, the Western Allies merged their zones into what became West Germany, while the Soviet-controlled sector became East Germany. West Germany quickly surged ahead, largely thanks to Ludwig Erhard's economic reforms, known as the German Economic Miracle, and the US-funded Marshall Plan, which funneled billions in aid to rebuild war-torn Europe. These factors transformed West Germany into an industrial giant. However, this momentum began to slow after the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. The reunification of East and West Germany in 1990 revealed deep economic disparities between the two regions, leading to significant financial strain. As Germany grappled with the immense cost of integrating the former communist East, its once thriving economy faltered. By the early 2000s, poor management and mounting challenges earned it the title of the sick man of Europe, culminating in a full-blown recession in 2003. Amidst all of this chaos, Germany began another ambitious economic rebuild, and it wasn't long before it started to bear fruits. Between 2007 and 2013, the country's GDP grew by almost 4%, the second highest among G7 countries. In addition, Germany had the lowest debt and one of the lowest unemployment rates in the world. No doubt the German economy was booming, and so were the fortunes of companies, citizens, and foreigners in the country. Volkswagen, for instance, posted a staggering profit of $15 billion, making it the most profitable car manufacturer at the time, ahead of Toyota and General Motors. But fast forward to today, and all of that prosperity feels like a distant memory, and Germany is once again being labeled the sick man of Europe. But why is this so? Well, this decline didn't happen overnight. It has been unfolding since the mid-2010s, but the cracks became apparent after the COVID-triggered economic crisis in 2020. Germany was thrown into recession as its economy shrank by 2.2% within the first quarter alone, and by the end of the year, the loss margin had increased to a staggering 5%. Yet analysts remained bullish on the German economy, given that it outperformed the likes of France, Italy, and the UK, all of which suffered national output declines of over 9%. But just as Germany started to orchestrate its comeback like it did after the World War, it was hit by another devastating blow. It all started on the 24th of February 2022, when Russia, Germany's biggest supplier of natural gas, invaded Ukraine, drawing criticisms and hefty sanctions from the European Union, which, of course, includes Germany. In retaliation, Russia reduced its gas supply to Germany from 55% before the invasion to 35% in May 2022. 4 months later, the pipeline was completely shut off, leaving the country with a significant deficit that threatened to cripple its economy. Energy prices rose by as much as 35%, and it became obvious that Germany's over-reliance on Russia was a huge mistake. But the worst was yet to come. You see, some months before the invasion, Germany had already committed to the Renewable Energy Act with hopes of achieving zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. As part of this mission, Germany launched a campaign to phase out its nuclear plants. However, with the Russian gas supply cut off, the country was forced to delay the shutdown of its last 3 nuclear plants to April 2023. Despite this extension, the energy crisis dragged on, leaving the economy on life support. In September 2023, the German economy was ranked as the worst performing major developed economy. The shortfall of this development saw the manufacturing sector shrink by 2%. Today, 4 in 10 industrial companies say they are considering cutting production or relocating their business abroad. Even worse, Germany's unemployment rate recently hit 6%, the highest since May 2021. But here is the twist. Even as the country grapples with rising unemployment, its working-age population is declining rapidly. The country's Minister of Economy, Robert Habeck, recently warned that labour shortages in the coming years could be the biggest impediment to growth. Equipped with this information, the German authorities had started taking precautionary measures to forestall a potential labour shortage crisis. Back in 2015, Angela Merkel adopted an open border policy, encouraging the inflow of migrants. This was originally done to accommodate the refugees and asylum seekers fleeing war-torn countries, but it also served as a supply line for Germany's ailing workforce. Between 2015 and 2018, over 1 million asylum seekers applied for refuge in Germany, with hundreds of thousands among them accepted and integrated into the workforce. More recently, in 2023, Germany's immigration policy was reformed again to further tackle labour shortages. But unfortunately, it has led to a significant irregular migrant crisis that has put the country's national security at risk. Earlier in August, Germany's Interior Minister Nancy Faeser warned that the risk of Islamic terrorism in Germany remains high. That same month, a NATO airbase in Geilenkirchen raised its security level due to intelligence information indicating a potential threat. And it wasn't long before the threats started to materialize. On the 25th of August 2024, a failed asylum seeker stabbed 3 people in the city of Solingen, sparking widespread anger across the country. In response to this barbaric act, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has vowed to accelerate the deportation of irregular migrants and tighten weapons ownership laws. Already, Germany has carried out mass deportations of some irregular migrants from Afghanistan, and discussions are currently ongoing to send more of such people to Rwanda. In addition, the country has introduced security checks on all its land borders to reduce the inflow of irregular migrants. Despite these efforts, far-right politicians are calling for even more restrictions to be implemented. Conservatives, however, have vowed to resist these calls, creating a tense political situation across the country, especially ahead of the decisive 2025 elections. Considering the heap of problems that Germany is currently facing, a divisive political landscape is the last thing she needs. And if these early tensions are not quickly addressed, the consequences could be far-reaching, even beyond the borders of the country. Because, as we've learned from history, when Germany falls into the wrong hands politically, the cost can be staggering. Speaking of which, something terrible is happening in Europe. Check out my next video to find out more.